This just in, the Eagles make a huge surprise signing. Did Howie Roseman do it again? Also, another Philadelphia Eagle requests a trade, and you don't want to miss what some of the vets had to say about Jalen Carter. What is going on, everybody? Welcome into A to Z Philly. You know the drill. Hit the like button if you enjoy the show. Be sure to subscribe, ring the bell down below. That way you don't miss any of the coverage. Ladies and gentlemen, we are quickly approaching the start of the NFL season. We're almost there. Finally, the preseason is done, and today we have a plethora of news to jump into. But before we do that, I have a question for the people. What do you think is the most accurate prediction for the Eagles record this upcoming season? What is the record going to be? Let me know down below in the comments section. And before we jump into the news, shout out to our sponsor of today's video, BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using code ATOZPA and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. So find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today with bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. All right, let's jump into the breaking news. So just moments ago, as we're getting ready to record, boom, the Eagles make a signing. What do? They pick up former Colts cornerback Isaiah Rodgers, who is now currently suspended for this upcoming season for gambling. But Howie Roseman, as he always is looking forward into the future. And he says, we're going to go sign this guy, stash him for next year. He's still pretty young. Maybe he could end up being something down the line. Now, I'm not going to sit back here and say, that he was right or wrong. Obviously, what he did was a poor decision. But at the same time, what I will say, right, the Eagles have a history of not really, tending to go for those guys, right, who have a lot of baggage. Obviously, they took a gamble with Mike Vick. You saw it played out, but, it's not like this guy, has a DUI. It's not like he has a domestic violence. What he did was he bet on himself in a football game. Right now, again, that was a bad decision, and he should not have done it. But I'm just saying he did not do anything overboard, in my opinion, and other guys have, gotten hit as well with this, but here's more of an explanation. The Eagles signed Isaiah Rodgers, who is currently suspended for violating the NFL's anti-gambling rules. Again, still should not have done it. Bad decision on his part, and he will miss this upcoming season. But it says here, Rodgers was caught betting on his own team when he was with the Colts. His bets were small, mostly all under $100 with an occasional low four-figure bet. At this point, I'm starting to think this guy just bet on himself to get an interception. He's like, you know what? Our team stinks. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to get a pick and win myself more money. I don't know. But as Elliot Shore Park says here on Twitter, Isaiah Rodgers last season, according to PFF, was the 5th best overall cornerback, 6th best cornerback in coverage, minimum 20% of defensive snaps played. He's still in his young 20s, only been in the league for a couple years, and he is here ready to go. And if, he comes back to form and he's still up to par, right, this is another corner that the Eagles can stash, and, well, he's a talented player. So we'll see how it goes, but Howie Roseman always thinking ahead to the next step. So welcome to Philadelphia, Isaiah Rodgers. Once again, this weird connection with the Indianapolis Colts. I feel like every former Colt is an Eagle, and every former Eagle is a Colt. I don't know why it happens, but it does. Anyway, the next act of business today is Derek Barnett. Yes, Mr. Unsportsmanlike himself has asked to request a trade. It says the former first-round pick is stuck behind a logjam of pass rushers. The Eagles' defensive line is literally too good. Have we ever said that before? Maybe last year, right? But their defensive line, on paper at least, is literally too good. Imagine that. There's no spot for Derek Barnett, who was a first-round pick 6 years ago. Now, again, he hasn't lived up to the hype, right? He obviously made a huge play or contributed to a huge play in the Super Bowl and helped contribute that year, but he's never lived up to that Reggie White hype. And at the end of the day, man, Derek Barnett just commits too many dumb penalties, and it is what it is. He's not going to have a lot of snaps. He's not going to have a lot of playing time, so he requests a trade. Now, what is the impact on the Philadelphia Eagles? Once again, Elliot Shore Parks here on Twitter says a Derek Barnett trade would open up around $1 million in cap space. So literally no real impact on the cap for the Eagles. This is just the Eagles who, again, plan to keep him, but if he wants to go somewhere else and there is a suitable trade partner who's willing to maybe give a late draft pick, then maybe the Eagles and Howie Roseman say, you know what, you're not going to play anyway, so go, right? And we'll take a draft pick back. Nothing major in terms of this, but I'm actually happy because, again, I liked Barnett for a couple years, but his impact is usually more negative than positive, and he just, I don't know, he gets in the way sometimes, man. So we'll see what happens with that. Also, another name to keep your eye on here, Trey Sermon. It says here, according to rumors, Jeff McClain says is a player who could have trade value and could be dealt before tomorrow's roster cuts. Now, a handful of guys were cut over the weekend, no big names, just a lot of guys that were expected to be cut. There are a few final cuts. They had their last practice today, so we'll see, what happens with that, who gets let go. It's going to be a tough decision. There are probably a couple guys that deserve to be on the roster that aren't going to make it. One maybe being Trey Sermon, just given the surplus of talent that the Eagles are trying to decide between, and it's just where it's at. Now, in terms of one of the guys who will be on the roster, and one guy who is going to be a menace, we've been saying it all offseason, all preseason, and the hype just keeps growing, that is Jalen Carter. Now, shout out to Dave Zangaro, who put an article out on NBC Sports Philly, and he had an interview with Brandon Graham, and somehow, some way, the new nickname, get used to it, write it down, put it in your phone, who cares? Baby Rhino. That is what they are calling Jalen Carter. I don't know if it's because he looks like one, his strength, maybe all of the above, but that is the new nickname for Jalen Carter. But beyond the nickname, every single Eagles vet, I don't know if I've ever heard as much praise as we are hearing for Jalen Carter, for a rookie. I don't know if I've ever heard as much. Every guy they talk to, even guys who are established, the Brandon Grahams, the Lane Johnsons, the Jason Kelce's, all of them just keep saying, keep your eye on Jalen Carter. That's how freaking good this kid is going to be. And we know, right? He probably could have been the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Certain circumstances happen. But Rashad Penny was the latest to comment on Jalen Carter today. And he was asked to pick one teammate who's going to have a big year. And undoubtedly, he says, Jalen Carter. I've never seen anything like that since playing against Aaron Donald. He has the intangibles. You saw what he did in preseason in just a couple snaps. This guy literally throws people. He bulldozes people out of the way with one hand without trying. Is Jalen Carter the next Aaron Donald? Is that too much of a stretch? Like, obviously, he has to go through an entire career and prove himself and put up the numbers. But just, the intangibles, just the size, the durability, all of that, the speed. Could Jalen Carter end up becoming a player of the nature of Aaron Donald? Could he have that type of impact? I'm telling you, it's sooner rather than later than that this guy is going to be getting first team snaps. Honestly, I'm telling you, he might end up starting. That's how high the praise has been for Jalen Carter. Yes, you have so much talent, but whoever's putting up the numbers, whoever's getting the job done is going to get the nod, man. And right now, all we're hearing about Jalen Carter is he is like generational. I can't wait to see it in action, man. Couple other moves today, other things to keep your eyes on. The Jonathan Taylor sweepstakes continue. Justina Anderson says that 2 teams are respectively making substantive offers and are mutually willing to give Taylor a market contract. So keep your eyes on that. He wants out of Indy. Could the Eagles be one of those final 2 teams? Also, another move, the Texans surprisingly cut their starting linebacker, Christian Kirksey. Could that be another guy that Howie Roseman goes, to pick up on a discount, right? Maybe could end up being, a good depth piece behind Cunningham and Nakobe Dean. Started 29 games over the past 2 years, was a team captain, 124 tackles, 3 sacks, 7 tackles for loss. Obviously, he was on a bad team, but still, putting up some production value. So definitely keep your eye on that. And we end today's video with a couple comments from AJ Brown. He was talking about Devontae Smith, and he says, quote, "That's another wide receiver 1 next to me. I think the city of Philly should appreciate both of us while they have us." Man, if that is not the truth, the Eagles have been searching for a wide receiver 1 for how many freaking years? Dating all the way back to T.O., really. And, I mean, there's been a couple guys in between, but AJ can go for 1,500 every single year. He can do that. And Devontae, I mean, some of these catches they're showing on these highlight clips, he could be a wide receiver 1 as well. So I agree with AJ, man. Like, just having both of these guys in your possession is incredible. It's really amazing, and it's a blessing to watch both of them next to each other. And AJ was asked a couple more questions. He was talking about Philly media. And he was asked if Smitty and him are competitive in yards and touchdowns. And today, AJ was asked how he felt about Slay, saying that Smitty will soon be the best wide receiver in the league. They're just trying to stir up these narratives. And AJ's right. He says, quote, "I don't think you should do that." I agree. Let these guys build that camaraderie. They're great friends. They're going to do great things on the field. Let them be. Even Slay responded on Twitter. He says, "Y'all are trying to start drama. Can y'all just appreciate them? Appreciate these two while you have them, Philadelphia. They are going to be a dynamic duo. I cannot wait to see if they put up the numbers like they did in year one and you add more and you still have this offense intact, this core. Imagine what they're going to do this season. Cannot wait to see how it plays out. I want all your thoughts down below in the comment section. Once again, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We will be delivering the Eagles coverage all year long. Be sure to hit that like button, comment down below all your thoughts on the matters, and subscribe to the show. With that being said, I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.